Hey everyone, Dan with Mac Rumors, and in this video I'm unboxing the brand new iPad Pro. I'm going to set it up and then I'll give you my initial impressions of the device. So this is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and alongside it I have the new Smart Keyboard Folio and brand new Apple Pencil 2. Inside of this box you do get the iPad Pro, some paperwork and stickers, and a USB-C to USB-C cable and USB-C wall adapter. From an unboxing experience standpoint, there's really nothing out of the ordinary here. For an Apple device that's not a new MacBook, however, the USB-C might seem a bit out of the ordinary. Apple did make the switch from Lightning to USB-C for these new iPad Pros to allow the iPad to connect to more devices, like displays, cameras, and even to your iPhone for charging purposes. As far as the design goes, you might notice its striking resemblance to the iPhone 5, with the antenna lines, sharper corners, and the flat aluminum body that can actually stand on its own. You do get 4 speakers, 2 on the top of the iPad along with your power button, and 2 at the bottom, both flanking the USB-C port. The back of the iPad Pro is where the new smart connectors live, and of course you also have your 12 megapixel camera in the top left corner. Now for me personally, I really like this look. I don't think I'll be holding this tablet a lot in hand, as I primarily like to use my iPad Pro with the keyboard, and if I'm watching videos it usually gets propped up somewhere, so the sharp edges are probably not going to be a huge deal for me. Obviously, another major difference in this year's iPad Pro is the removal of the home button and the decreased bezels, which gives the iPad an edge-to-edge look and fits the 12.9-inch display in a much smaller enclosure than the previous generation. Aside from making this thing impossible to hold without touching the display, Apple needed to leave some bezel on the iPad Pro to make room for the TrueDepth camera system, which of course gives us Face ID and the ability to use Animoji and Memoji. Face ID on the iPad Pro so far has been very fast and accurate, and yes, it works very well in both portrait and landscape modes. If you're holding the iPad in landscape and happen to be covering the sensors, the iPad will actually let you know that you're doing that, but for the most part, I don't see this being an ongoing issue. As far as the display goes, all I have to say is wow. It's big and beautiful, and I forgot how much I absolutely love the ProMotion 120 Hz on an iPad. I really wish this feature would make its way to the iPhone, but for now on the iPad Pro, it just makes everything feel very snappy and smooth. Speaking of snappy and smooth, that's actually just been the overall theme of the performance in my experience so far. Now it's only been a few hours and most devices feel great right out of the box, but with the new A12X Bionic chip, I don't expect this iPad to be sluggish at all. One thing to point out, however, is that every iPad except for the 1TB model has 4GB of RAM, while the 1TB version comes with 6GB of RAM. Not entirely sure why Apple did this or if it really will matter when using it in real life, because all iPad Pro models have some crazy benchmark scores. The iPad Pro was able to put out a single core score of about 5,010 and a multi-core score of 17,601, which is more powerful than many notebooks out there, which to me is crazy. Finally, the new Apple Pencil and Smart Keyboard are definitely must-have accessories, and so far I'm really loving the new form factor of the Apple Pencil. Compared to the older model, the Pencil is considerably shorter since it no longer has the cap that covers that Lightning connector. The new Apple Pencil actually charges wirelessly by simply placing it on the side or top depending on which way you're holding the iPad, and once it's attached, it will automatically connect and start charging. The new Pencil also has a matte feel all the way around, and even the Apple Pencil branding is much more pronounced than on the older generation. The new keyboard, on the other hand, has the same key feel when typing, and the keyboard portion of the case feels exactly the same as the last model. I'm not the biggest fan of these keys, but it's familiar and not really a deal breaker in my opinion. The good thing about this new case is that it finally protects the entire iPad and also gives users another angle to prop up the iPad. Overall, I know it's early, but I'm really liking this iPad Pro so far. I think the screen size and form factor are perfect for me, and the 12.9-inch model isn't really as big as you might think. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more coverage on the new iPad Pro or any other video that we might have in the future. And of course, be sure to let us know your thoughts about this device in the comment section down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.